Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making birria tacos. I know I'm a little late to this trend, but I thought this would be perfect for Cinco de Mayo. To start this dish, we need 4 cups of warm water. We're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, and I'm using this packet of achiote and cilantro bouillon as well. If you can't find that, just add 1 more tablespoon of chicken bouillon. We're gonna give that a little mix and set that aside. We also need 1 pound of short ribs, bone in, and 2 pounds of beef chuck meat. We're just going to chop this into large chunks. I obviously need to sharpen this knife, but I digress. Again, chopping into large chunks and putting this into a nice large pot. We also need 3 bay leaves, 2 guajillo chilies, and 1 dried ancho chili. I'm just chopping up the stems and putting these in whole. You can take out the seeds if you want to, completely up to you. We also need a teaspoon of dry oregano. If you have Mexican oregano, I recommend that. I didn't, so I just used what I had. We also need a teaspoon of ground cumin, just popping that right in. We also need to chop into large chunks 1 large carrot, 1 medium yellow onion. I'm leaving the peel on and just cutting this into quarters. We are going to strain this for our consomme, so it doesn't matter if the skin of this is still on. Just tucking that in. We also need 1 whole head of garlic. Again, leaving the skin on this as well. Just chopping off the top and tucking that in. And we're ready to go over to the stove over medium heat. We're gonna add in our broth mixture, bring this up to a boil, lower to a simmer, and let this go for an hour covered. We are gonna go in and skim the scum off the top as it rises, just to get that out of there. And after an hour, we can pull out our chilies, all 3 of them, along with 1/4 cup of our broth, and we're going to blitz this up in our blender to make a little chili paste. Just giving that a little buzz. Then back over to our pot of goodness, we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of chili powder and our ground up chilies. We're going to give this a little stir, cover this up, and let this go for an additional 2 hours. After 2 hours, we are going to taste this for seasoning, because this should have reduced down a lot more at this point, and all those flavors should mingle. So we're going to add a teaspoon of kosher salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Now you're going to notice the fat from the bones and the beef rise to the top of this, and this is liquid gold. We're going to use this to dip our tortillas in, so gently skim that off the top and put that into a separate pot large enough to hold your tortillas, or to dip your tortillas in. So after 3 hours, this meat should fall apart, so we're going to pull this all out. And we're going to strain our consomme, put that back into the pot, and keep that warm on the stove. For the meat itself, we're going to just take 2 forks and shred this up. You want to go in and remove any of that cartilage that may still be stuck on your beef from the short ribs. No one wants to chew on rubber bands. Now we're ready to assemble our birria tacos. So over on the stove, we're going to dip our corn tortilla into that beef fat, place it into a large saute pan. I'm not adding any oil to this. There's enough grease from the fat itself. We're going to layer on some of our shredded beef. We want to top this with some melty cheese. And we're going to flip this over in half, and we're going to let this crisp up on one side and let that cheese melt. Give that a little flip and do the other side as well. And we're going to continue to do this until we've used up all of our beef. Now to plate, I've just put the consomme in a small bowl, topping that with some sweet white onion and cilantro, adding the onion and cilantro to the tacos as well, and serving this with a couple of lime slices. This is key. It's going to break through that fattiness, the acidity from the lime juice, and just add a ton of flavor. And this is looking so delicious. So now let's go ahead and give this a taste with a little squeeze of lime. We're going to take one of our delicious crispy tacos, dip it into our consomme, and this is beefy goodness. The beef is super tender. You taste all the spices and chili in this. The tortillas are a little crispy on the outside. The onions add a nice subtle oniony bite. The cilantro adds an herbaceousness. And these are absolutely satisfying and delicious. Are they perfect? No, but 100% would make these again. But there they are, Birria Tacos. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate it. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you loved it, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because I put out new videos every Thursday. Thank you again, and until next time, happy cooking.